all of a sudden I had nothing but audio issues.
That's always what happens.
I
Like right before it starts, all the problems. Sounds like a film set.
mean, it basically is. It's a whole production, right? With these Zoom meetings. It's
yeah.
I prefer to do this in a studio.
Yeah, one day.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's like union, going union.
Going union. Yeah, we have like benefits and stuff.
Yeah, Josh, we operate this like an ultra low budget feature with zero resources and confusion.
Yeah. No, you're good. Can you guys hear me well?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Cool. Perfect.
You can hear us and stuff?
Yeah. You guys sound great. I agree.
One day we'll be in a studio, but that's when we go union.
Oh,
when we unionize the Get Reelisms podcast. That's right.
Is there a podcast union? There probably should be.
No,
right?
we're just kidding.
No, we're making that up.
We're making that up. That like that's like we operate at indie level with no budget, and then like when we get to a studio one day, that's like us upgrading to union. Yes.
Stick around.
We're doing this season. Is basically where we try to promote other filmmakers in the industry grinding and trying to make it happen, because everybody offers incredible insight into the process, and hopefully that insight will help anybody out there who is also trying to hustle and grind and get their shit made to maybe learn from our mistakes, because lots of mistakes are made on film sets, always, no matter how good you are. In fact, a lot of times even the big sets are the biggest shit shows, surprisingly.
I fully agree with that.
Yeah,
I've been on some of those, been like, wow, this is just as bad. Except they're paying you, so they don't give a shit how you feel at all.
I was about to say it's usually like a higher paying job, like those
worse,
bigger
actually.
sets. Yeah, but they're so like the environment's so much worse. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because they're like, you know what, we're paying you, so like you'll take any shit we throw at you.
Right.
Yeah.
At least at least
those
indie sets are like, I am so sorry you're barely making a living. So like, are you happy? Do you like, can I get you anything? Thank you so much. I appreciate you so much. Yeah. Big sets are like, fuck you.
Yeah, they don't care.
Yeah, they don't give a shit. Yeah, they're like, we're paying you, so you're gonna take this pain, because if you aren't taking this pain, somebody else will.
Yeah, I ran Genie, and I had to carry some stuff down like a cave once, or twice actually, like just like big combo stands, big wall busters, like an M18. It was.
Oh my god, dude! Yeah. Oh, with those lights. Oh my god.
And then run cable all the way down there. It was super cool.
Was Patrick Hoy on that one?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
Yeah,
I asked because I have known about, but several people were shot in this cave, I believe. So
I think it's the one that's oh crap, I forget what it's called. I think
I'm
it's
just very
out
aware
there.
of a cave. So
yeah, there's actually a few around Austin. So
yeah,
it could be any of them. But I think I've done it at two separate ones, one south and one northwest.
Okay.
So
I don't
gotcha.
remember which one Patrick was working on, but all right. He's a good dude.
I think we're
for a very long time.
I think this is the first episode that we have G&E on, right? Like a G&E respected crew member on a podcast. Yeah. This is awesome. We've had production designer with Kelly, and makeup with Roxy.
Yeah,
Jason with sound.
Plenty of ADs. Yeah,
plenty of ADs. Matt Stryker.
Plenty of directors. Yeah, but I mean, you'll talk obviously from a producing directing standpoint.
Yes.
As well. You'll be good at it to get. I'm a big fan of Adoro as well. So.
Oh, I love Adoro. Yeah, good people.
Yes. All righty.
So you ready to do this then, Christine?
Let's do it. Yeah.
So do you want to introduce the guest then, Christine?
I'll say, and we have a guest, and then.
So you'll introduce him.
Yes. You'll introduce yourself. So I'll say, and a guest. No.
Oh.
Josh will, after saying that we have a guest, and then introduce yourself, and then Josh will go in. Yes. Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is it. This is episode 104 of the Get Reelisms podcast. We have a special guest. Sorry. Jesus Christ.
My name is Adam Chase Rennie.
And I am Christine Chen.
There we go.
And yes, we're here, and like we were chatting earlier, this podcast is run like a ultra low budget indie film with zero resources. So we apologize if no, we don't. This is how we are. So
don't apologize. Yeah, this is a free podcast.
We own it. We
also
own it.
Go ahead and introduce our podcast or our guest.
Wow.
Christine.
Yeah, Adam. Yes, and we have a special guest. So Josh, please introduce yourself and what you do and all that jazz.
Hi, my name is Josh Segundo. I am a writer and director. However, professionally, I do G&E, but I am trying to be a writer-director narratively.
Yay! Yeah, I feel like in this industry, we all have the thing that we do because we're good at it and it makes us money. The thing that we do out of necessity because everybody's shit at it, that you know, and then the thing that we do where we actually really love and would do for free. Somebody said that there's no sound on Instagram. That's bad. Are you sure?
You sure? Maybe turn up the phone.
Yeah,
sorry.
Turn up your phone.
I know that's really sounds demeaning.
Yeah, because there's nothing we can do for Instagram. It should just pop up.
Yeah, because I can see the audio on Instagram and it's fine.
Going. Oh, okay, cool. It's
are we good on Instagram?
Yeah, we're good.
You guys can hear
me.
Okay.
Josh has no sound.
Can you guys hear me now? Is that better now? I don't know. I guess there's kind of a delay, right?
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah, I think there's a delay because I'm seeing you guys are perfectly fine.
Yeah. If Instagram is being weird, you can always. Oh wait, yes, we're broadcasting live on Facebook as well. So that's via Zoom. So if you want to go. Oh, he says now he does. Great.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Cool.
All right, that sounds great.
We don't want to listen to Josh anyway. Who gives a shit?
I'm not a sound person. I'm sorry. I don't.
Yeah. Neither am I. Not my department.
Not my department. Yeah, this is where we go. I don't know. Not my department. So, Josh, tell us a little bit about what it is that you are about to get into. What are you raising money for? And just a little bit, maybe a log line or something about your project.
Yeah. So the short film that I wrote and will be directing is called Where Do We Go? It's an absurdist comedy / family drama about a guy who's kind of a fuck up, and I guess a fuck up's kind of a mean thing to say, but he is a recovering drug addict who is given the responsibility to take care of his daughter for the first time in several years. He's kind of been removed from her and his ex-wife, and he's given the opportunity to take care of his daughter for the first time in some time. And throughout the process of their day, they end up losing her backpack, and they need to retrace their steps before her mom comes to pick her up. So it's basically like, I like to kind of say it's kind of like Election, and like the stakes are very low, but like for the characters, it's very big because of this guy. It's like, it's not as big of a stakes as bigger movies, but it's like a very personal stakes of like responsibility. So I think, if he can't get this right, then it's kind of one of those things that it's like, maybe he probably shouldn't be taking care of his daughter. So he really wants to make sure that this goes without any flaws.
Yeah. Cool. And how did you come up with this concept, and how long have you been working on it?
So I think I wrote the first draft of this, I would say about December of 2020.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's been quite a while. Yeah. At that time, my wife and I had just moved to Austin. I think I met Christine when I was living in San Antonio. But that was 2016, 2017 or so. But we moved to Austin, and obviously the pandemic kind of wiped out my bartending job. So when moving here, I had zero connections, and I was just basically door dashing and trying to do any kind of PA jobs on Staff Me Up. Oh God, I'm forgetting what it's called now. That's actually makes me feel a little bit better. But so I was basically doing that. I was like driving to Corpus, just doing, driving to Corpus to do PA jobs, like paying my own way to do stuff. And then mostly a lot of the door dashing was around Austin, and I kind of started feeling like, man, this sucks. Like just driving around trying to make like $100 a day.
Yep.
Like stuff like that. It's pretty rough. And I kind of started to think like this, it would be so much worse if I have a child and if I didn't have my wife to come home to every night and who would, cheer me up, in a way, because it was very rough to do that. But, through perseverance, it kind of really did get in a better situation. But yeah, the story basically comes from my fears of like what my life would be like if I didn't have my wife, and if I didn't think that I could take care of a kid, which at that time I definitely would not have been able to.
Yeah. I think you speak about something that I think a lot of filmmakers go through. It's extremely demoralizing. I would like to say that I also did DoorDash. Not many people know about that.
I did too. Yeah.
Yep. I did lots of odd jobs. I think the thing that I enjoyed the most was WAG. So I walked lots of dogs.
Nice.
I still do that. I enjoy that.
Mm-hmm.
I actually do that for like fun now. But yes, so it's always like the first 2 years when you commit to doing it, maybe even 3 if you're not lucky, when you're like trying to get into the network and make the connections and stuff like that, that's super rough. And it is like making just a couple $100, but like it sucks. It makes you question why you're doing it. It makes you question if you're any good at it and stuff like that. And so I totally feel for you on that aspect. So yeah,
it's a pretty universal feeling, I would say. And I feel like there's in those first like 2 years, I think, like at this point I'm like 2 years in doing Genie, but it's like you try so hard to like make the connections, and you kind of like that line is blurred where it's like, oh, I've met a lot of people, to where like I'm trying to meet a lot of people, if that makes sense. Like you kind of just realize like, oh, I just know a lot of people, and now I have a lot of friends in many different departments. So
now that you establish yourself in G&E, you can seek more connections. Totally. Yeah.
I'm in that transition right now. I moved to Los Angeles for the purpose of like trying to meet new people and stuff like that, and expanding my network. So I'm back to square one again. It's like the weirdest feeling. So yeah, but cool. Well, so how did you get into you've always been doing G&E, but how did you get into it? Because when I met you, that's what you were doing. So how did you fall into that role in the industry?
I would say probably by necessity, but this was like back in college. Like everybody was kind of had their own little roles, and we didn't have like a lot of like really nice lights, but like I had a little film group team from when I was in college, and we would shoot different shorts and whatnot. And some guy was like, I'm probably the best with the camera, and some other people were like, I don't know how to do anything, I'll just act. And I was like, I guess I'll do the lights. So I've always kind of felt really inclined to play with lighting. I've always really enjoyed it. I don't know, I find it really creative.
So you went to film school?
Kind of. So I went to a program so I'm from Mission, Texas, which is like a border town of Mexico. So there's a campus down there called UTRGV, which has a theater/film program. It's like they're both of the departments are together. So it wasn't great. I would say like our lighting class was lighting for stage.
I was about to say it's a lot of theater production, right?
Yeah. So it wasn't very helpful for film. I actually moved from there to San Antonio to go to school there. And then there I was a digital communication major, and there was like, editing classes or whatnot, but then I showed up to class and I was like, oh no, we're editing papers. So I was basically an English major. So then I just dropped out. I just dropped out fully then. But yeah, when I was at my first university, I kind of met other people, like-minded people who wanted to do film, and we just kind of did things on our own. So yeah, I mean, that's basically how I fell into. I wouldn't really call it film school. We never really had like a cinematography class even, so it was kind of like trying to just figure out by yourself.
What was the first project that you did in film? In film, like your short or whatever?
My first short. I was a senior in high school, and I made it in my house, and it's basically a complete ripoff of the movie Adaptation by Charlie Kaufman.
Nice.
Wow, I love that movie too.
Me too. Yeah, it was like it's very cute little thing. I saw it like a couple months ago, and it's like poorly shot and poorly, but poorly
for
acted
sure.
in it. But it was fun. It was like I think the concept is like
awesome.
that my school teacher gives me an assignment to make a video about a certain object, and then I make a video about the difficulties about making a video about a mug, and then the video you're watching is the video that I turned into my teacher.
Really?
Yeah. So that was like the silliness of like of my first short film. But I did that when I was a senior.
Okay. How many years ago was that now?
10, like exactly 10 years ago.
Man, that's
oh, really? Wow.
That's about right.
Wait, you graduated 2013?
2013, yeah.
Yeah, me too. That's crazy.
Oh, yeah. Awesome. 27, 28, around there.
I'm 28. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm about to be. Yeah.
Really? Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah. That feels like forever ago now. Huh?
Yeah, that's so weird. And like it's interesting that you mentioned that though, because like I wholeheartedly agree that like lighting is sort of like there's a creative element to all of it. And did that like did that creativity call for you to then write this film that you're crowdfunding? Like, was that sort of like, did that come to you via working on so many sets and you just sort of like have the frames already in mind of what you want to shoot?
For sure.
And then you just execute it by writing it and then, you know, storyboarding it, because like you have like a thorough like crowdfunding thing going on too. Like you have storyboards, you have you even have sources too that I want to talk about. You have references to films on indie films that I'm like, oh my God, I love these films. This is crazy. Cool. So I want to talk about that in a second. But you have like a thorough vision on this that didn't like come to you super fast, I assume. Like everything just sort of like cultivated from like you being on set one day on a smoke break or a lunch break, and then just like, maybe that's actually kind of cool, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I would say definitely a lot of ideas have definitely come from working on set, and I think more of them being like logistical. Like, you know, I'm sure we've all worked on shit shows, so like,
yes,
being on G&E, we tend to get like the short end of the stick. Like I've had to carry stands up and down stairs. Like I think I don't know if this is before we started recording, but like down caves and stuff. So like it's been really great discussing things with the DP for the short, because then not only am I like, hey, here's what I see in my head, but I'm able to be like, this is how I would light it, because this is how I feel like would make the most sense. So I'm not like a director who's showing up and being like, this is what I envision, figure it out. I'm kind of like, this is how I think we can do it, and this is how I think we can execute it. Also, this is where the grip truck can be.
Should land.
Yeah, this is where it should land, so that we can be easily accessible for everybody.
Exactly.
So that we have parking for that. Hair and makeup has a department. Restrooms, all of those logistical stuff. Because, you know, working on set, there's been certain times where it's just like, oh, I wish we had this, this, and this. So
that's always fun. I don't think I've besides Grace is G&E.
Yeah.
Adam. Yeah. So Grace, I don't know if you know Grace Goen, but she also directed short and all that stuff. So I always find it very interesting to meet people who are directing, writing, but have the core fundamental values of being on set, because it runs so much smoothly, because it's like, these are all the things I wish would happen on these other sets that I know went terribly wrong, and I'm going to make sure they don't happen on my own sets.
For sure.
So I don't know how that is literally not a requirement for directors, because it should be.
I agree. Yeah. I feel like I've met people who go like, oh no, I'm just a director. Like I'm not.
Oh my God.
Dude, that's crazy, because I've been on those sets too. I don't understand that logic at all. Yeah. I don't get it.
I don't get it either. I hear I'm just an actor's director.
Yeah.
Like we joke about, oh, that's not my department, but I mean, like there's a respectiveness going on when it comes to like making sure everyone is getting equal treatment and getting the fairest treatment you can possibly get.
For sure.
Solving it logistically.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's so crazy how it's like you sometimes look at the locations manager, depending on who it is, and you just see them and you're like, buddy. And then you ask them questions like, yeah, this is like my first or second set. And I'm like,
it shows.
Very shows. Right. Because now we have no parking, and G&E has to like hike up like a mile to lug their shit back and forth.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say it necessarily should be like a requirement for people to be on set, but it helps a lot.
It helps a lot.
So
you save a lot of time figuring that shit out.
Time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's gonna be hiccups. Like obviously we haven't shot anything yet, but like I know that there's gonna be hiccups, but it's like minimizing that as much as we can. Like getting ahead of any sort of issue before we even start.
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of people who have worked as crew who decide to direct, write their own stuff, is that they have a understanding and appreciation for most people's positions, hopefully. And because of that, they're able to plan around for it in a way that directors that don't have that cannot. So I guess like that's interesting because when I want to ask you, because obviously I am a AD, and so I can't write without thinking about those things, like as an AD and producer. When I wonder if you think this way creatively. Is this a positive limitation, or what are the cons to it? Because there's people who just write as well, Camille's like this, Adam, but she's getting better because she has more experience now, but like just write and let their mind run wild and don't give a shit about how much it's going to cost, like the logistics of it and stuff. I get it. Like, sure, your creatively runs crazy and the sky is the limit, but I write being like, I have no resources and this is what I need to do to be able to get this made, basically. So what are your thoughts on that? And then maybe the process for your current film.
So, that's interesting. So my writing process is, I basically just go about my day for as long as, and I'm not that kind of guy who's going to sit down and write a page a day.
Okay.
Like I think I wrote the first draft of this thing in like 3 days. But it was stewing in my head for like 2-3 months.
For a while.
I was just like figuring it out in my head before I even put it to paper.
Okay.
And that's to say the first draft. I don't know. I've lost count as to how many edits and changes I made. But I will say, the first draft I go in fully creatively without any limitations. Cool. And then I reel it back or I condense. So something really interesting about this script is that the first draft is 28 pages.
Okay.
And it's at 16 right now.
Great. Okay.
Wow.
So there's like a lot of it's been, I wouldn't
even necessarily quite a bit.
I wouldn't even necessarily say it's been gutted at all. It's just condensed. Scenes have been, put together. Yeah, like different things like that have just been really shaped. And I think it's just it's just tight. Like, and I think that's really the thing. And so obviously I think writing is rewriting. Like I think I fully agree with that. But yeah, I think the first draft was just write as much as you can. And there's been certain scenes that I'm like, maybe this isn't necessary and we'd have to go out of our way to get this shot. So let's just cut it.
Yep.
So there's a lot of stuff like that. But the logistics definitely came out after.
Yeah. Nothing cuts the script faster than when you start to produce it.
Yeah.
And then you're like, don't need this because that's going to cost this much amount of money and doesn't. But it's nice because I think that's the beauty of indie filmmaking, is that like you have to think in those terms. And so by the time you get to shooting, in theory, you have the absolute minimum that you need to shoot to tell your story, and there is no fat at all. And you will continue to think about that when you're on set as well. Like, for sure, in this comfort of no weather problems, no angry people and stuff like that. You've cut what you think, but the moment you're on set, shit will just go. I cut so much stuff when I was on set, being like just cutting in my head. Do you edit, out of curiosity?
Yeah. So I think for this, I'm going to be doing the assembly myself, and then I'm going to have an editor come in and help me out with like making it.
Yeah, good. But you obviously, because in high school you said you did edit, right? But you say edit papers, but okay, cool. But I think that's another skill set. I think that directors who edit, like, you can just write on the fly. Editing to me is another writing tool.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, movies are made in the editing room. I fully agree with, like, name any movie, and if you just edit it differently, it's a completely different movie.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. So. And that's how I wrote. How I learned to write was really through editing, was through having written something, filmed it, and then in the editing room, being like, oh, I could have rewritten it better this way and cut it this way, and then being like, this is how I will need to apply to future writing things about stuff. So cool. Well, it's fun always to talk to people who didn't start by directing. I think when you went in, was directing and writing always the forefront, or was it like, oh, maybe I'm interested in this because I see other people do it and I can do that and I'm interested in telling certain stories? Or were you because like for me, directing and writing was always number one. I fell into everything else for the opportunity to support directing and writing. But I know lots of actors who are like, no, acting or some other job was my priority. And then while I was in it, I had an idea, and now I'm foraying into directing it and writing. So what would you say your journey is like?
I think for me, it was definitely directing first and foremost.
Okay.
I just wanted to like tell stories. But I wouldn't really say my initial approach was like writing. I feel like I see story very visually, but I don't necessarily want to be a DP who's telling other people's stories. So like, I wanted to tell my own stories, but it never came from writing. And I think I would describe myself as a writer I describe myself as a director who writes, not a writer who directs, or not a writer director.
I'm the same way.
Interesting. That's interesting.
And I think that the separation is like, I will direct anything. Like if someone gives me a script, but I will not write for somebody else to direct it. I write so that I can direct, basically.
Me too.
Yeah. Cool. How has it been, because navigating your career and being able to make a living, how have you been able to continue to remember that your first and foremost goal is directing while you're trying to make a living and have life and all that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely tough. I think the last short film I did was 5 years ago, and that was before I was still a bartender then. Like I would do things on the side, but I was still, I had a day job. Yep. But we've been getting into it in 2020, 2021. It's been kind of tough to like make sure that things get made. Just because it's not to say it's like it's easy to get distracted, but it's like, the money's nice. You're working on professional sets. You're working with really nice gear. I mean, it's just kind of reminding myself, and I think really what it is just like watching a lot of movies. Like I still love narrative, and I think maybe it's the fact that I don't necessarily work in narrative as much, because I mostly only do commercials and music videos.
There we go. Okay.
So it's kind of like working with that, and still wanting to hold on to narrative. I worked on a feature this past year. I've worked on a couple shorts, but nothing to the degree of like my full-time job is narrative. It's mostly commercials and music videos. So I think it's like being on set, but kind of yearning for the narrative, but wanting to do it for myself.
Yeah. It is so hard. I think talking to different people because you have to make a living. So I think there's like, as a director, I always ask, that's always when I meet a director, that's the first thing I ask. I'm like, how do you make a living? Because I'm always trying to figure out like, how do I direct full time? Right. That's like, because if not, you're making money some other way. You're either crewing, or you have a day job of some sort, bartending or whatever. And so I'm always fascinated about that. But when you're juggling all that plus family or life and stuff like that, then like how do you, I mean, you said your last short was 5 years ago. So it's like, how do you keep that love and just remember like to not be shackled and by the golden shackles of money and all that stuff, and remember to go back and take the pay cut and spend the money, and actually you're losing money to make your art. It's purely from the love of the yearning and the love for directing and art, and it's hard, it's tough, it's rough.
I think I would definitely say like Yeah, my last short film that I wrote and directed was 5 years ago, but I kind of don't mind that it was 5 years ago, in the sense that like I enjoy making something when I feel like I have something to say.
Cool.
So I'm not a concept writer where it's like, oh, it would be cool if there's this guy who travels back in time and he yada yada yada. Like it's more of like, how am I feeling? Like I said, like this story came out of my fears, and I think my last one also came out of my fears as well. So that's how I like to write. It's like, what am I going through, and how can I tell that visually or through a story that other people are probably going through. So I kind of feel like I said, I'm not a writer who just like shows up every day, I'm gonna write. It's more of like, I feel like I have an expression that I need to make. It's now time to do it, and maybe my next thing won't be for another 10, 15 years, who knows. But I just know that like, when I feel like I have something to say, I'm gonna say it. And that could be at the end, it could be December, you know what I mean, it could be 10 years from now. So it just depends on when that inspiration strikes. But I would definitely say that's kind of how I keep myself motivated, is not directing for the sake of directing, but for when I feel like I have something to say.
Yeah. Okay. I have one big question, which is because you know what it takes to make a film, how does that affect you when you're on set on other people's projects? So because I think crew that have just only been crew, I get it, it's a job, but like you are more empathetic to the production problems if you've been on production side. It's not necessarily a good thing, but I can tell when like I'm dealing with crew who are like, okay, yeah, I make my film, I get like this food isn't the best, like, but I get it, this is the best you can do, and they tend to not complain very much. But crew that's only been crew, they complain so much, type thing. And I'm not saying like this one, it's just how it goes. So like, how has it affected you as a crew member on set, having been on the other side,
I think, I don't know, maybe, and I feel like I am very empathetic. Like I go into shoots knowing what I'm walking into. Like I did a 2 days on a feature this past year, and I was best boy grip on this, and the key asked me to jump on because I was just day playing. And at the end of the shoot, he's like, dude, I'm so sorry I brought you on. This is such a shit show. And I was like, dude, you have nothing to apologize for. Like, I knew that it was an indie feature. I knew that they were gonna have us do, I don't know, like 4-6 different scenes in a day with so many different lighting setups. Like, I knew what I was walking into. You have nothing to apologize for. Like, I get it. So I think that's definitely how I approach it, is just understanding what I'm walking into before I get on set.
Correct. Yeah, I think we've had this conversation multiple times.
We've had this plenty of times, especially me working in the art department. I've had plenty of art directors like pull me to the side and be like, dude, you really did me a solid. I'm so sorry. This is fucked up. I'm like, listen, like you texted me like, hey, can you jump in on a set dressing thing? Like there's no money. Bring your toolkit, bring everything, whatever you can, and then come over. It's like, I know exactly what's going to happen. Now, are the expectations, set to the bare minimum every single time? Probably. But sometimes you surprise yourself. You get onto those sets that are like actually like ran for the most part smoothly, besides maybe some dips and stuff. But that's just kind of the way it goes. Like whenever you sign on to projects like that.
Yeah, and I think that the because this is a podcast about filmmaking and I like to educate, is for people who are getting into the industry. I think that's the biggest thing, is know what you're walking into, and if you do, don't complain when you agree to something, very much knowing what you are supposed to be walking into. That's the quickest way to not get rehired for anything, is 100%. Like, if I tell, now, this is Now, if I'm like, oh, this is a, big budget commercial, and you go in and they're like paying you nothing and feeding you pizza, okay, you have every right to complain. But if it's like, dude, like we're gonna go camping and like it's 6-day weeks and overnights and we have zero money, and you're like, fuck it, give it to me. I better not fucking hear you complain on set, because you knew what you walked out to. I didn't hold a gun to your head and say you have to do the set, right? So I think that's a big thing for anybody else out there listening who are like, oh, I want to get into film and how do I be a good crew member or whatever. It's ask lots of questions when you can prior to getting on set. Make sure this is something that you're going to commit to. And then if you're going to commit to, no matter how much you're being paid, you have to treat this the same way as something that you're being paid 5 times the amount of money, because you agreed and committed to it, you know? So
yeah, you agree. So
now
you have to kind of, I mean, it sounds bad, but it's like you kind of have to suck it up at a certain point.
Exactly. Or don't take it.
Yeah, or don't take it, which is perfectly fine too. But I mean, I guess, for sure. I think what I would definitely say is, like, if someone asks you, are you available this day? Just don't immediately say yes. Say what for.
Yes.
And then understand
I say
what you're going to walk into.
I said maybe, depending, and then I ask the questions. How many locations? What's the budget? Will I have this? Yada yada yada.
Are they overnights? Are they splits? So
exactly.
you need to know that.
Do your research. Exactly. And then when I'm on there, if shit goes down, I have to be like, I did this to myself.
Yeah.
Well, right.
And then I'll go and commiserate with my colleagues, but I'm not going to try to make the producer's life miserable, unless it's a safety issue. That's a little bit different. I think there's, I will put my foot down for certain things, safety issues, and not going by certain rules that are expected of a film set. Like if we're going 15 hours and you don't give a shit, I'm going to say something, because that's safety. Everything boils down to safety.
I agree. So, if something's not right, then you gotta just put a stop to it. There's no way around that.
Yeah.
So
I guess my second part about it is that, like, since the last thing you made was 5 years ago, how excited are you about this? And who do you got on board? And like, how do you think you're gonna feel when you are on set and you've raised the money, you greenlit it and everything, and you're ready to go?
Oh man, it's very, I just want to make it. So super, super exciting. It's been an idea that's just been stewing in my head for the last 2 years. It's just the same, like, it's just been in my head. And I just really, really want to put it out there. I'm like uber excited.
Do you have dates committed already, or when are you shooting it? How many days? What's your final budget, if you are allowed to say? How big is your crew?
I was about to say, if he can say
all that stuff.
So we are our dates, we have a couple deposits down, so we're kind of locked to these dates already. March 24th, 25th, and 26th. So it's the week right after South by.
Okay.
The weekend right after South by.
Wait, when's South by?
The 11th.
The 11th, yeah.
Okay, I'll be in Texas.
Cool.
Yeah. So cool.
Yeah, it's the weekend right after that. We have 1 day where we're in an apartment all day.
Okay.
Day 2, we are doing a bus station, office, and a school pickup at a church. So we already have a deposit for that. We're consolidating 2 locations to 1.
Okay.
And then we have a diner that closes at 3, so we're gonna get in there after 4. So we're gonna own it, which that's the best.
Sick. Yes. That is awesome.
Location.
Yeah. And then the last day we have rented out, or we have a deposit down for a city bus rental. There's like this party bus thing here in Austin that has a city bus. I don't know why, but they just have a bus that just looks like a city bus.
Wait,
probably
really?
Because film.
Yes,
probably someone's like, you know what? What's
interesting.
A film coming here? If we have this, then we can rent it out. That's probably
right.
So we're having a full day with the bus.
That's fun. I've shot one of my I'll be third short was we shot with a bus. It was in Louisiana though. So
I saw that short. That was a really good one.
Thank you. Yeah, it was
I saw that.
was that my third one? Yeah. So that I remember shooting the bus. It's wild and it's fun.
The one with the crib, yeah.
Yes, the one with
Yeah,
the crib,
yeah.
the Syrian
I
refugee
really liked
one.
it. Yes,
Yeah.
I really liked that one.
Yeah, that was. I think that's a lot of people's favorites. Is that one? I still love it. I have intention to make it a feature at some point, but I was so burnt out from doing that, plus the academy qualifications, all that stuff, that I was like, I am more than just this film, like I'm gonna do something else. Yeah, 10 films later, I'm like, maybe I should make that.
It's time to revisit.
Yeah, time to revisit that. So I'm very excited for you to be able to make your short. So let's bring up the screen again for the crowdfunding. Let's talk through to people, why does it cost what it costs, and what are you raising funding for, and a little bit about the background so that people will feel bad for you and donate.
Yeah, so we are trying to raise $12,000. Camera equipment, food.
Yes, food.
We are trying to do rental. I like the locations. We have that for $2,500.
Okay.
Which is a lot. Obviously I'm not getting paid at all.
Yep.
But yeah, catering, props for the art department. I want to make sure that Genie, camera department, sound, all of them are getting paid. Cast, I want them to get paid. So that's really, it just kind of adds up. It adds up pretty fast. So
agreed.
That's really what we want. And then obviously we have I think we have 1,000 allocated for a contingency, just in case. We never really know what's gonna happen there. But yeah. I mean, we have it's really a lot of those stuff. I have multiple incentives that I'm actually really excited for. I'm helping a guy move on the 11th, so I put that. I will help you move.
Perfect. Will you donate your
I saw
blood
that
as well?
Yeah.
Yes. What are the incentives? Let's say a few. What are your big ones?
So yeah, I have that one. It's called, where are you going? And it's since you're helping us out, I'll help you out. I will help you move. And then I put a dumb little thing, exclusive meet and greet with the director, where he helps you move.
Love it.
And that's for 4. I will crew on your set for a discounted rate for $450, which is
which is a discounted rate. Yes,
it is definitely a discounted rate.
Yes.
I'm hoping that more people take that on. I will name a character after you. I think there's a guy who says his name is said multiple times, so I'll put you in. We have an Easter egg thing for $100. That's I will put a photo of you in the film somewhere, or any photo that you want.
That's fun.
Yeah, maybe it's maybe it's your business. You know what I mean? Yeah. I will put a sticker or a photo of your business in the background, what's his name? Mike Myers in oh God.
Baby Driver?
No, what is that thing? The movie where he has the Pizza Hut. It's losing me completely. He looks right at the camera and he's like, very delicious.
I have no clue which film.
Oh, was that from Austin Powers?
No. It's with it's these 2 rocker guys. I cannot believe it's escaping my mind right now.
Oh my God, Wayne's World. Wow. Wayne's World, yes. Wayne's World. Yeah. Yes. That took a minute for sure.
It's hey, it's product placement. I will do that. I'll do.
That's
I'll do
right. Oh yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, we have studio headshots that I'll shoot. I'm gonna rent out a place. I will write you a postcard. If you want to jump in and to be a producer, you could definitely do that. I think with that, it comes with everything involved. I will take your headshot. I will work on crew for you.
Yeah.
You get anything, for those. So yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to get
You're hustling.
Yeah.
Yeah, guys.
I will work basically for free if I can make my thing happen.
Yeah.
I've had certain people tell me oh, I feel bad, hiring you for a lower rate because I feel like I would be taken away. And it's no, I'm trying to invest in myself. I want to make this thing happen.
Yeah.
So you can pocket the money. I don't care.
Yeah.
I just want to make this thing happen. I want to make my movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are some good deals, guys, especially that crewing one. Help a filmmaker make their film. I mean, you'll get the satisfaction that it is going directly to something that is technically a legacy, years from now, you will have produced someone's film. And, you know, if you have that on your bucket list, you should check that off. And I mean, as a filmmaker who's I've gone through crowdfunding twice. It is really hard. And I will always remember every single person who has donated, because it is extremely special, because at that level, literally every bit affects the film. Every little bit has a direct impact on the film. It's not like a multi-million-dollar film where like they're just bleeding money everywhere and don't know where it's coming from. It's like whatever, and their crafty table is like the cost of one film, indie film. It's like every single little bit matters. So guys, go and donate. We're gonna have a link in the
I just dropped it in the Facebook comments too, but it's also going to be in the description as well. So
yes.
I really appreciate that.
Please.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, of course.
I think as filmmakers, we have to, part of the reason I wanted to do this was we have to support each other, because it's, there is a pie, right? And if we think that the pie is so small and we have a scarcity mindset, then it will stay that small. But the thing is, what a lot of people don't know is that pie can actually grow, and the only way, and the pie can get bigger. And the way to get bigger is if we are mutually supporting each other, because this is what happens. You hire somebody, they make money, and they make their film. And when they make their film, they go hire more people, and then everybody wins. And that's how it works. And so, yeah, I know there's a million projects out there and we're all broke as fuck because we're in film and we're all making our own films. But so this is the way we can support is
I really appreciate you guys having me on.
Hopefully, you know, get the word out to whoever, and maybe somebody out there will be interested in funding a film, because this is important, guys. This is what builds people's careers. This is not just Josh's career, but like the people who are involved in the career, that they can make a living and everything. And they make a living, they go make their films. So it's just, crowdfunding campaigns, it's annoying, but it's a process. And we as filmmakers appreciate those that donate their time and resources so that we can continue to live this stupid dream of ours.
I mean, you know, we can work on commercials, we can work on other people's stuff for forever, but if we want to make, you know, we all came into this with dreams, and we want to make it happen. So yeah, we gotta help each other out. We gotta support each other so we can get there.
So let's see here. So 3-day shoot, right? And how much crew do you have? How many crew?
I think we're probably going to cap off at about 15 people.
That's good. Yeah. 15 crew.
So DP, 2 ACs. We're going to do 1-on-1 G&E, because my AD is also a part of G&E, or at least comes from G&E. So if he can help, I can help as well. If we really need things to be done quickly. About 3 people in art. Geez, I'm so bad at math. Maybe about 2 PAs, which I believe are going to be UT students. We're helping them out with like school credit, from what I understand.
Yeah.
And then we have a sound person. I think that might be it. We have an on-set producer, and then a script supervisor, and I believe that's it. And then the actors. So I think with cast and crew, about 15 people.
Nice. Yeah, that's a nice size. That's about right. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm keeping cast pretty minimal on this. I think there's like 6 main roles at most, and you know, some people are only there.
So skeleton crew, pretty fair amount. Yeah.
Where everybody does everything. That's You try not
listen, but I like those sets too. You know, it depends on the like how big the set or how small it is. But like I've worked on a few shorts as like just regular like art department, just like sole art department. It does become stressful, especially depending on the scene, if it's very prop heavy and stuff like that. Which, I'm heavily traumatized by like dinner scenes still, so I try to steer away from dinner scenes and stuff, but if it requires it, I will do it no matter what, but you're gonna catch me screaming about it afterwards for sure.
well, it's funny you mentioned a dinner scene, because there is a scene in a diner where
but that's fun though. That's actually awesome, because there's so much you can dress with a diner than you can with, I know it sounds very strange, but in my opinion, I feel like with a diner, it's so much more, I don't know, like just a little more rustic feeling with film. And it's synonymous with film, especially to me, especially with some of the references you pointed out, like After Hours and stuff like that.
Love After Hours.
That's kind of the vibe that I love so much. And so, with a normal ass like dining hall home dinner scene feels very like rudimentary. There's like only really like a couple of ways to do it in terms of dressing it. But with a diner, it's like it's almost like a freedom of like, because it's a period piece, can be, or it could be absolutely modern. What I mean? It works. It's like a time capsule, diners.
Well, what I was going to say real quick about the dinner scene or the scene here that takes place in the diner. And I know I've heard a lot of people talk heavily about how it's like really annoying to keep having to eat.
Yeah.
We actually only have the little girl in the film. She takes one bite of her burger and she doesn't like it. So I wrote that logistically, where it's like, I don't want her to have to do this over and over and over again.
No.
She'll still have to do it. She'll still have to do it like 5 different times, but but at least she won't be eating the entire time throughout it.
Yeah, exactly. You only need like 5 or 6 burgers, and then and then call it a day. Reset it every shot, and then we're good. Yeah,
it's just one bite in each burger, so she should, it should be fine. A lot of things like that were all logistic.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is I think we're about to hit that time, but I have one question.
I have a question as well.
Great. We each will ask. Yeah. So my question is, of all your scenes, what are you most scared about? And what are you the most excited about from what you're about to shoot?
Interesting. Okay. Could it be the same scene? Is that possible?
Yes, totally.
Okay. So we have a scene where the father and the daughter and a third character get kicked off of a bus.
Okay.
And they get kicked off of a bus in near downtown Austin. So I need to record I have to have that bus drive around a block as they're leaving it. So that's a really complicated shot. And they're coming off the street onto a sidewalk. So, and it's at night.
Oh, no.
So it's a pretty complicated shot.
Yeah.
Luckily, this is the shot that I was telling you earlier, where it's like, I have this in mind, but I know how I want to light it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I've already talked to my DP about it.
Do you guys have walkies?
I believe so. So Ben from Maduro, I think he has his own company, Picture Ready.
Yep.
For production supplies. So I believe they have walkies.
Okay, good. because you're gonna need that for street stuff.
Yeah. So
luckily it's like too.
Yeah. It's it's like on East 4th Street.
So okay.
It's like by Native Hostel.
Okay, yeah, I'm aware of that area. Yeah.
So that's kind of the area that we'll be shooting in. So we just want a bus to be driving around there while they walk off the street. And also, obviously, we have a child, so we want to make sure that this is completely safe. So they walk off from 2 steps off the street onto the sidewalk.
Which day is this on a weekend or
this is a Sunday? This is our last shot of the day on a Sunday.
What time?
Like at 8 or 9
p.m. Okay. All right. Cool.
I think it's possible.
Yeah.
And go ahead and share the location details too with us if you. No, please don't do that. Don't do that. That's the worst thing you can do.
I already said.
He already said.
Oh crap! I already told them what day we're shooting it. Yeesh.
Well, no, I mean it's not like you're giving them the full respective address. You're not. So that's fine. Just don't. Yeah, that's as far as you can in terms of doxing yourself. You don't need to dox yourself even further.
bleep it out live. We're
Yeah.
live. It's bleep it out. It's fine.
He's definitely not shooting there.
That's not where we'll be.
Christine has a knack to just like go ahead and just be like, oh yeah, just go ahead and give out all your call sheet, please. You know, like no, but the thing that I wanted to ask though, was the references. So it's interesting that you pointed out this one of my favorite Safdie brothers film, Daddy Longlegs. I am a huge fan of that film, and I totally can see the vibe of or at least the scope of just being, you know, isolated in a crazy expansive environment. You know what I mean? And just feeling that isolation, just like, I got to take care of these kids. I have to watch over them, like, because they go all over the place. You know, they're everywhere. And you also referenced After Hours as well. So like with these references, do you, clearly you're a big fan of film and filmmakers and indie film in general. Do you like, with the vibe of the film, is it like one of those things where you watch these references and then you're like, okay, this is top down exactly how I want it? Or do you already have that in mind and then you just reference those films for anyone to just like really like come back to? Because picture it, because like that's how I do it, especially like I'm writing a feature script right now, and it is daunting, but the amount of films that I'm watching that I'm like counting in like my ever long list of reference films, I circle back and I watch through them and I'm like, oh yeah, that's why I thought about this frame. Like I didn't even think about this to be, you know, you sort of like connect the pieces. Did you already have that in mind, or did you watch After Hours or Daddy Longlegs and were like, oh, this is genius, I got to have this in the short?
I think I actually wrote the first draft of this without having seen After Hours. And then I saw it and I was like, this is exactly what I was trying to do.
Yeah.
Or to an extent, not necessarily like the story. I mean, like After Hours is about a guy who's like trying to get laid and he just like gets into like ridiculous situations. But it's like,
yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, but it's kind of in that vein of like, you know, this dad loses his daughter's backpack and needs to run around. And then like every turn that he takes, it's just like his life might just fall apart fully. So it gets increasingly more ridiculous and more out of hand. And it's basically like, you know, is this person going to give up or not?
Right. That reminds me of this other film. I'm not sure if you watch it. It's called Mikey and Nicky.
Yeah, I love that movie.
That sort of reminds me of the same thing, just like how Peter Falk is trying to watch over John Cassavetes' character because he's just like on the brink of just like, you know, trigger warning, killing himself. Yeah. Right. Like he's like falling apart, and Peter Falk is just there to just take care of him. And then he's just aloof and just wants to do whatever the monkey he wants. And then he gets himself into so much trouble. Right. And also those bus shots are great too, because you really see, it's like very intimate, I guess, with a bus, because a lot of scenes that I realized that like with bus scenes, you really get to know the character, not only on an intimate level, clearly because of how close you have to be to the profile of the characters, but like how in depth they are and how they're willing to just like let all their deepest secrets just kind of go. You know what I mean? And it's the same thing for Mikey and Nicky. Like you sort of learn John Cassavetes' character and why he's running and what's his motive, and does he want to escape from this? Is he like interested in this cat and mouse game? Does he want to be caught? You know, like what's the end game here? And you sort of learn that with that scene. There's no particular question with that. I just wanted to shout that out.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
it's a phenomenal movie, but like it reminded me of that with the description of like, you know, this film and whatnot, especially like referencing Daddy Longlegs. It's just, it's one of those things where I'm like, I'm excited to see this short, you know, like, like everybody's gotta, support independent filmmaking, period, end of story. But like, especially when it comes to shorts, like, and how creative this is, like, you gotta support your boy here, you know?
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's gonna get weird. Like, when I say it, like after, and a lot of it's actually coming logistically. Like I'll say this, like I have a friend who's playing 7 or 8 roles, and a lot of them are like extras.
Yeah.
Oh,
like he's just in the background for a lot of things, or he has speaking roles and he interacts with them at multiple times, and it's just completely never going to be called, upon as far as like logically, but then logistically, it's like I don't need 10 extras if I could just have this one guy.
No, yeah.
Do a lot of things in different scenes. So in that sense, like things are gonna get weird. I mean, and it gets out of hand, and I'm very excited for things to just show off how absurd the story is, but at the same time, it's a heartfelt story about a guy just trying to be a good dad and trying to not be a complete fuck up.
That's cool. Yeah, we're excited for you, and we really hope that people out there will donate to your Kickstarter, your Seed and Spark. We will have the link in the description in the IG.
In the IG live, we're going to drop the link there in the comment or in the description. Yeah.
And guys, support indie filmmaking. That's how the pie gets bigger in this industry, and how all of us, it is a job. So that's how we get to continue to work on our dreams, to be able to work in the industry, because it is a pipe dream, and to be able to continue to create awesome stuff for you guys to watch.
Yeah.
So we're excited to see when it comes out. So I'm sure we'll do a follow-up of some sort of something.
I would love to. To.
We have to. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll love to share some stuff with you guys earlier. Earlier than we release it. I'll probably send you guys some.
Yeah, you'll have to share
for sure
your success stories, and your like, shit, I learned this the hard way stories, because there's a lot of those always.
Once it gets greenlit, because it will. We'll definitely meet up after, and we'll do a follow up after you guys watch it. Maybe that might
be fun. Yeah,
really
dude,
fun
I would love to do a reaction. Especially, I would love to do a live reaction with the podcast, but we'll figure it out in a later time.
That's tricky.
It's very tricky, but I always thought that would be interesting to do that with the filmmaker. It's almost like a commentary. It's basically like like those DVD commentaries. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, I mean, this could be a suggestion. We do one after we shoot it. So we talk about the difficulties or what we learned throughout, and then after it's fully released, we can do a full talk through about the film itself.
That's perfect. Yeah, because I think that's the part that you can learn the most from, is like what not to do and how to apply it to your own future sets for those who are wanting to direct or make movies and whatnot. This is how it's done on the ground zero. There's no magic answer. This is how you are able to work and continue to be in the industry and create your own stuff. You literally scratch each other's backs. You work your day job or your commercials and your music videos. You save up your freaking money, and you get your friends together to work on your film, and that's the way it's done. You learn from each other. So
there's no shortcuts.
There are no shortcuts, and I've had to say that time and time again for many people who are just getting in, being like, what do I do? Unfortunately, it's so simple. You literally just have to figure out how to get your film funded to make it.
For sure.
And funded doesn't necessarily have to be money, but funded means you have the resources to make your film. So
for sure.
Well, good luck, friend.
Thank you.
Good luck, Josh.
Yes, and
we'd love to have you back.
Definitely.
I'd love to be back.
Yes,
thank you so much for having me on.
Of course. So, what podcast are we on, Adam?
Yes. I was going to get to that segue, and then she has to direct the entire episode.
I'm a director.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Get Reelisms podcast. If you thought we forgot this is the Get Reelisms podcast and not slinging the book, you're wrong. We are. So get your books today at getreelisms.com because we love the podcast. We love you, and you should support the show. Get yourself a t-shirt, get yourself a book, get yourself a poster. I mean, what are we doing here? Come on. Just get it together. Support indie film.
Yeah.
Go to Josh's crowdfunding. Link is going to be in the description. Please donate. You're supporting independent filmmaking, and this is a rad story that needs to be told. So let's get that ball rolling for Josh. Thank you so much for joining us. And that's it, Facebook. That's it, Instagram. I got nothing for you. I'm out of podcast and I have to pee. So it is what it is.
10-1.
See ya, guys. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Goodbye now.